Hello, hello, hello. So today's topic is on rebuilding trust and transparency. All right, so we want to talk about how you can rebuild trust and transparency with your stakeholders. And a lot of people may be wondering, like, what does that mean? How can a nonprofit you lose transparency and trust with their stakeholders? And we all know that trust is earned through consistency, honesty, and actions. And sometimes transparency is not just about sharing information, it's about making the stakeholders feel seen, heard, and valued. And that can happen in so many different ways by losing that transparency because there could be a change in leadership and no one tells them. Your stakeholders are first people who are invested in your organization. So those people who support your organization, whether it's your board members, whether it's corporate funders, whether it's sponsors, foundations, volunteers, all those people who support your organization, who have invested say so into what they want to see your organization do. They're invested in those missions. They want to be a part of that. If they are a partner with you, they want to be a part of that. And if you have a change in leadership, or if you have some scandals or bad reviews or some media black publicity and different things like that, the stakeholders feel like they should have some insight of what's going on, build their trust. They're not going to keep giving money and funding to people who they feel are misusing their funds, misappropriating the things, not operating their organization correctly. And if there's ever an opportunity where that happens, we're talking about how you can rebuild your trust with them. And rebuilding credibility requires humility, clear communication, and commitment to long-term change. You may not even be the one who was a part of the fiascos that happened before you. You may be just stepping into a leadership role in this organization, and something may have happened prior to you even getting there that may have caused these stakeholders to lose their trust. And you have to work on, how can I gain their support again? Because I need their support to continue operating and executing my mission. So, we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to first acknowledge why trust can be lost. And trust can be lost because there could be miscommunication, there could be some leadership turnovers, there could be some unexpected expectations. And even with things like today, with the uncertainty with federal funding and different funding sources, you could say, hey, like, I thought that I was going to be able to operate this organization to my capacity and be able to serve 500 people. But because my funding was lost, now I can only serve 100. If you don't tell your stakeholders that, but your original conversation was, I'm going to serve 500 people, and they don't know that there has been some unexpected expectations that happened, and all they see is that you're only operating and serving 100 people and you never told them what was going on, they're going to feel some type of way. They're going to feel that their trust is lost. And we don't want to do that. Okay. We want to keep the trust of our stakeholders. All right. So we want to make sure that we are always communicating with them, even in times of uncertainty. When there's new leadership, we want to introduce our new leadership and also try to fill ways out on how we can build their trust. So those are ways that, first, hey, you can lose trust. And trust can, the removal of stakeholders supporting your organization can show up in so many ways. They can withdraw their funding, staff can leave, partners can no longer partner with you or be hesitant to move on. And there's ways that can really impact your organization. So We want to make sure that we keep everybody on board and we keep a level of transparency with everyone. Okay? We don't want to break trust. And those are some of the reasons why trust can be broken. All right. So a lot of times statistics shows that donor and staff retention is one thing that gets hindered when trust is broken, right? And there's a lot of emotional consequences that come with it too. But we want to overcome those barriers, all right? So when we're talking about stakeholders and what they need, all right? And we understand what their expectations are, stakeholders value knowing that what they've done is something good, that they poured into an organization that did exactly what they wanted their money to do. All right. No one wants to give and they don't know why they're giving. No one wants to give and they don't have this great impactful feeling. No one wants to give and they think that you're misusing their money because they could have used it somewhere else. All right. So they value knowing that when I give this to you, I'm putting it in the hands of someone who's going to turn this thing into something that multiplies impact over a multitude of people. That's what they want to feel when they're giving this money to you. They want to feel that they have done something great for the common good that they would not have the opportunity to do if they did not invest in someone like you. That's what they want to feel. All right. So they want to know, how are their needs or concerns evolving? They want to know that they can be present. All right. So you want to make sure that you understand what your donors need, what your staff members need, what your community partners need, because they want to feel like they are making a difference. All right. So do you know what your donors, staff, and communities partners expect of you? And do you know what they fear most? Because if you don't, that's something that you should think about so that you can make sure that you can reassure them that those things are not going to happen or are happening. All right. So make sure that you really know your donors, staff, and your community partners and what hits home for them. Okay. You really want to know what is hitting home and how you can be an impact. All right, so let's also talk about embracing radical transparency. There's some good and there's some bad that comes with transparency, because in some places you're going to have to show your mistakes. You're going to have to show when you did right and when you did wrong, but they're going to appreciate that. So don't be afraid to say, wait a minute, we made a mistake, we made a bad call. Because those people who are afraid to own up to making a bad call, making a bad decision, and not saying that I learned from it, those are the people that lose trust. And you don't want to do that. So you want to provide as much visibility in decision making and operations as you can without causing confusion. All right. So trust equals transparency plus communication plus consistency. If you can be transparent on what's going on and you're communicating that thing on a consistent basis, you begin to build trust with these people, with your donors, with your staff, and your community partners. All right. So you want to do that by making sure you are doing things like staying relevant on social media. All right. Including them in opportunities where they can share their insight and say, hey, this is some room for improvement. These are some rooms at the areas that you're doing great. And then continue to do those things. And they can be able to see that their feedback is actually being implemented, right? Show them that you care about what they think about or what they are concerned about. You might not can change everything. We all know that, but show them When you listen to something that you think is valuable and you implement that thing, show them. Whether it's social media, whether it's an email blast, newsletter, just a personal email, something. But on a consistent basis, they know that they're going to hear from you, they're going to see your impact, and they're going to, always be kept abreast of what's going on in the organization. So the first strategy is to communicate with empathy. All right. Have listening sessions, town halls, do surveys, have frequently asked questions answered. If things happen where you have to apologize, make sure that your board, your media person, or someone has statements that they can go out to address people's concern. Use real world examples on how you can be empathetic in your leadership. Okay, so let's talk about how you can say, hey, I understand this thing is going on. We can't change everything immediately and overnight, but we hear you. All right, that's what you want to share with your stakeholders. Step two, after you are communicating with empathy with your stakeholders, you want to build transparency into the culture, all right? You want to make sure that your financial statements is on your website, all right? You want to make sure that they have ways that they are putting impact in to show how they can offer some changes and that they can see those things happening. That you can be transparent with your finances, with your impact, with your staff changes, with your all the things that's going on with your organization. You don't have to tell them everything that happens on a day-to-day basis that's real, like, minute. But big structural things, let them know, hey, we are human just like you. We have ups and downs just like you, but we're going to stick to the mission at hand. All right. So make transparency a part of the culture so that everyone will know, hey, they're not trying to hide where they're putting the money at. They're not hiding what they do with this grant money. They're not hiding what programs they're doing. No one ever knows what they're doing. No, everyone is invited to be a part of it. And that's how you welcome more people into support because they can trust you. People will give you their money, give you their time, give you their talent if they trust you. So the third thing that you want to do is take action and then communicate. All right. You want to go from making promises to making progress to showing proof. You want to say, hey, with this amount of support, we're going to be able to do this. This is how our progress is going towards doing that. And then show them that it's done or not done and why. All right. Small wins can lead to significant restoration. You don't have to do everything overnight. It doesn't have to happen in a day. But you want to make sure that you have communication that is open, that you're committed to following through with your process, and that you can empower the people internally and externally that is supporting your organization, and that you can multiply their impact. And that's what they want to see. And you want to highlight the wins, even the small ones. Highlight what is going on so that they can see, hey, they're working towards this big common goal. This is what they're trying to do. All right. So make sure that you have some different things in place where you can have infographics, dashboards, reporting areas, ways to check in, different things like that, that invites in people to give feedback so that you can improve and you can grow. Don't be afraid of the constructive criticism, right? Use that as a tool to make sure that you are impacting the people, that you are giving the people that you want what they want, because this is a public organization that is here to support the community. So you may not agree with everything, but if it lines with the mission and it's going to propel you forward, then you can consider during those things, okay? So you want to make sure that you are doing work to empower internal advocates. And that's your staff, that's your board, that's the inside people, right? You want to get support from your board and support from your staff, and you want them to be out there, telling the community, showing the community that they are equipped to do the thing and that they're aligned with the mission and that they will amplify the impact because of their resources and their time. Because in the long term, you're going to build trust, right? In the long term, you're going to have this impact. And this is how you are going to be able to continue to support your organization. So the 3 takeaways for today is that trust is earned, and you want to earn the trust of the people that are your stakeholders, your board members, your volunteers, your staff, your community partners, everyone that has their hand into supporting your mission. You want to earn their trust. You want to be transparent and relational with them. You want to build relationships where they know that you can be transparent, that you're going to be honest and open with them about the good and the bad, right? And that you will remain humble at all times. You will be able to accept constructive criticism, and you will be able to put the mission forward. Because the first thing that I will tell you that has to happen is that no matter what happens in your organization, as long as you are putting the mission of the organization first and focusing on impacting the people, if you keep that in mind, no matter what happens, you will be successful. So my goal for you today is that you will always remember your mission first, and that you will be empowered so that you can lead your staff, that you can be that liaison with your board, that you will be able to be the change maker in your community by building trust, even through your programs. But it first starts with your stakeholders. Once your stakeholders believe in your mission and they trust you, you will be able to make big, impactful change, because it won't be just you that's leading this mission. It will be a group of collective people that are making a strong impact. So I know that you can do it. Just keep those 3 things in mind, because we have to build trust and transparency in these uncertain times, because we cannot just depend on federal and government funding. We have to build trust within our communities so that they can support us in so many ways. So if you have any questions, we can chat in our community area of the portal, and you can ask questions, you can collaborate with your partners, but just know that trust and transparency are built in the nonprofit world, and that will help you propel. Have a great day.